This video will explore the parts of an APA citation according to the 7th edition, and we're going to focus specifically on journal articles. In this video, we're going to examine journal articles with DOIs, journal articles without DOIs, and journal articles published on the web that are not found in library databases. Let's get started. The first journal article type that we're going to look at is journal articles with a DOI. This is by and far the most common type of journal article citation you will probably encounter. Effectively, a DOI is a digital object identifier, and you can tell if your article has a digital object identifier usually by looking on the front page of the article, and if you see a long combination of letters and numbers, usually starting with a 10, that is going to be your DOI. Let's explore this citation in a little bit more depth. APA citations have four primary components. They have the who, which is the author, the when, which is the year, the what, which is the title, and then the where, which is the source statement. We'll begin by examining the author. This is an example of a journal author authored by two people. And what you'll notice about APA citations is every single time you have an author, all you need to do is list the last name followed by the available initials, and then even for the second author, list the last name followed by the available initials. If you have two authors or more, right before the last author you will put a comma and then include the ampersand, which is the abbreviated AND. Following that, we will include the year of publication, follow this by a period, and then after we include the year, we're going to include the title of the article, so the name of the individual work you're looking at. APA has very specific rules for how you deal with capitalization. They follow what is called sentence case. And so for sentence case, you capitalize the first word of the title, and then if you have a subtitle, which is indicated by a colon, you capitalize the first word of the subtitle. But all the other words are going to be lowercase, unless of course you have a proper noun. So if you have someone's name, of course you will capitalize that. This is one of the major differences between MLA and APA, and also one of the things that a lot of the citation tools get wrong. We follow the name of the journal article with a period, and then we're going to include the name of the journal, so the name of the publication itself. What you'll notice about this is that it is in all italics, and all the major words are capitalized for the title. We follow this with a comma, and then we include the volume and the issue. What you'll notice about the volume is that it is italicized. There is not a space, and if you have an issue available, you include that, and you'll notice that that is not italicized. So the volume is italicized. The issue statement is not italicized. If you do not have an issue number, it's okay. You can simply just list the volume number and then move on with the citation. We follow this with a comma, and then we have the page numbers of the entire article and follow this with a period. The next thing we're going to include is the digital object identifier. So remember we found the DOI number. We begin the DOI by indicating https doi.org and then / the 10 number combination. One thing that you will notice with APA 7th edition in contrast to 6th edition is that you can have hyperlinks, so it's okay to have this as an active blue and underlined link. But one thing we do want to warn you about is do not include the name of the databases. So if you see anything that says EBSCOhost or Academic Search Premier, we do not want this in a citation. APA does not want you to include the database names. If you're interested in learning more about this, you can find out on page 297 of the APA 7th edition manual. Next, we're going to explore how to cite a journal article without a DOI. So journal articles without the DOI, this includes one of the major changes between the 6th edition and the 7th edition of the manual. So this is for journal articles that have no DOI and a print version exists. So what this means is that there isn't a DOI, and usually it's an article that you found through the library database and is widely distributed. So if you found it in the library database and you don't have a DOI, this is the form you will use. This is the same form also used for print journals. Let's explore this in a little bit more depth. We start out by including the author, and this journal article is authored by one individual, so we just include their name, followed by their initials, the year of publication, the name of the journal article, and notice we only capitalize the first word here. Then we include the name of the journal itself, and so we capitalize all the major words, and then leave that in italics. The next thing we'll include is if we have a volume and an issue available, we will include both the volume and the issue. If you'll remember, the volume is italicized and the issue number is not. Follow this by a comma and then simply include the page range number and put a period. There is no need to put a retrieve from, there's no need to include database names, simply end it with the page numbers and put a period. The next form of citation we're going to look at is a journal article without a DOI that is found and is published only on the open web, so not ones that are found in library databases. Let's explore that one in a little bit more depth. Sometimes when we're searching for individual articles, we find ones that are published only on the web and are not widely distributed. In other words, they are not found in library databases. So what you need to do is start your citation as we would with the others. So we include the author's name, and then this is a page that changes a good bit, and so we include a fuller date. We include the year followed by the day. Notice the format of this. Then we include the name of the article. So again, we capitalize the first word, and if there's any proper nouns, we capitalize that. Then the name of the publication is the AARP Bulletin, so we put that in italics. But since we don't have page numbers, we don't have volumes and issues, we simply leave those off. Now, since this isn't found through a library database and is found only on the web, we need to be able to guide our reader directly to this. So what we're going to include is the full URL to that article online. And one thing that you'll notice is we don't have a retrieve from statement, we don't have an access by statement, and also we can include a hyperlink. So it's okay if this is blue and underlined. This third form of citation is a lot more rare than the other two. If you're using your regular library databases, generally all you need to be concerned with is whether your article has a DOI or does not have a DOI, and you'll follow the first two forms. But if on the occasion you're out on the open web and you find a really good journal article that's not published in the library databases, you can use this form. If you ever have a question whether it's found through your library, please feel free to ask a librarian. That concludes our overview of how to cite journal articles in APA 7th edition. If you need any help or would like additional citation help materials, you can find us at library.usca.edu. Happy searching!